So one of the things that I, as a young believer, had to learn was that as reading the Bible, I will have many questions, obviously. I didn't know anything about a cultural background of the Bible. I didn't know anything about how to, well, analyze a text. That's the wrong way to put it, but basically how to dig into it and understand. There was so much I didn't know. I didn't know about all the different contexts, the books relating to each other. I had zillions of questions, simple ones and more complicated ones too. And I had to realize that I have a lot of questions and I don't have answers. And what does that then mean? Does that then mean that the Bible is wrong and this is something that cannot be taken in? I cannot understand it. And no, it doesn't mean that. It means you need to ask questions, of course. Thank God for fellowship, a local church, because there you have a pastor or pastors and leaders and brothers and sisters who are older than you in the faith, and you can ask them questions like, what is that? What is that? What is that? Okay, so that's wonderful. And that, of course, happened in my life, and I asked a lot of questions. We had a lot of raps. We called them just Q&As, basically, and we had wonderful times asking all kinds of questions, and finding out that there were oftentimes deeper answers than we thought, and deeper connections within the Bible than we thought. And that's really a beautiful thing. But here was an important thing that I had to learn. It was that I needed to be able to take my questions and sort of shelf them, sort of store them for later, and say, okay, later I will find out. And I don't know what it means now, but that's not going to bother me. And this was a challenge in a way, because I had some pretty big questions, and like about salvation and about assurance of salvation and so on, and I had to say in my heart, okay, I'm going to just trust God that eventually He will reply to me, and I don't know how that works, but He will, and I'm willing to store this away and say. And I have given that advice many times to many people in the faith, like you need to be able to store it away. I have advised people to lead notes and write down their questions, because they can get answers for those in time, and then they can just cross them off the list, and they will see how they will have advanced. So that's also wonderful. But one verse where actually that is answered, that issue is very well described in the Bible, is in John 13:7. Jesus answered, you do not now understand what I do, but later you will understand. And this is, of course, to Peter. Jesus is talking to Peter about washing his feet, and Peter is totally confused about it. Just like I was when reading the Bible. Maybe how you are when reading the Bible. Maybe you are how you feel when you're considering the Holy Trinity, or you're asking things about the end times, or the Holy Spirit's working, whatever. And maybe you don't have answers. And Jesus is basically saying to Peter the same thing. He's saying, you do not understand now, but that's not an issue. My point with you is not that you would understand everything right now. My point is you need to trust me, and later you will understand. And truly, that's how it happened. As it's described in the Gospels later in his life, of course, for Peter, this was very clearly understood what it meant, and it's clearly understood for us as well. But he needed to have in his heart those shelves, and be able to put away issues, questions, troubles, and say, Lord, you know, and I'm going to trust you. Just think about Joseph when he's sold by his brothers, and he becomes a slave in Egypt, and he's going to die there, and then he becomes a slave in prison. He's going to definitely die there, and God is basically saying to him, what I'm doing right now you don't understand, but later you will understand. And we need to have that heart. We need to have that heart attitude, that decision in our hearts. Yes, today I don't understand what you're doing, God. One day I will. Don't know if it's in this life, but one day I will understand. And I will understand somehow that it was somehow by your love, it was somehow by your grace that you have allowed all of this to happen. because you wanted to teach me about something, like you wanted to teach me about forgiveness, about humility, whatever else. And this is so important for us that we would take hold of this truth. And I just want to encourage you to do that in your life, with your questions, with your troubles, with your unbelief, and dare to do this, and God will answer your heart's issues as you progress in the faith. God bless your day.